Alrighty, it's time to rock and or roll. Actually, it seems a bit excessive to be doing both. Should pick one or the other. You know what, guys? Let's roll.
Somewhere on the sea.
Oh,
Got a little longer, so it seems.
so to speak. La da da, come a little closer. Welcome to chapter 174, I believe, of Personal Histories of a Happy Chap. Hope you guys are well. I've had a week off. I feel refreshed. I feel revitalized. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm sweaty and I'm hot. I mean, I feel great internally, but externally, it's fucking boiling. It's like 29 degrees today. Summer has just come and kicked me in the dick. And by the way, the song's still going because I'm rolling with it today. You know, I said no rocking today. Actually, I feel a little bad putting such a quick ban on any rocking. I feel like you should never rule out a rock in case I'm feeling like rocking later in the podcast. But for the meantime, for the moment in the present, I'm just going to roll with it. I'm rolling today. No rocking as of yet. I'll let you know if I feel a rock later on. But until further notice, I be rolling. Anyway, welcome. It's hot outside. The sun has been like, remember me? And then I've been like, yep. And he's gone, sweet. Here's cancer in 30 years. And I've been like, awesome. So that's the way my week's going. I've been loving the heat. That's my problem. Me and the sun have a toxic relationship. I fucking love the sun. But unfortunately, the sun does not reciprocate the same level of respect that I have for it. Because my family genetically is prone. I already know how I'm going out. I know this is a bit of a morbid start to the podcast, but I'm going out with cancer. Most people in my family do. We die old, but we die fighting a pretty much losing battle. And it's grim. So anyway, Jesus Christ, Luke. I just said I'm feeling refreshed and revitalized. 1 minute later, I'm like, anyway, guys, so I'm going to inevitably die of cancer. I hope your week's been well. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Heavy start. We'll press on. Press on. I've been loving smashing the world gym. I did have a week off last week because it was a long weekend. The plan was to do a podcast on by the way, if I look spaced out, like I'm not focusing on what I'm saying, it's because there's a fucking daycare happening like in the room down. Meg is babysitting her niece, Grace. Lovely. She's 3. They're currently watching the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And it sounds like there's like there's only 2 of them. It's Meg and a 3-year-old. So I don't know how it sounds like, or maybe she's 2. I don't know, 3. I don't even know. How do you tell how old kids are? You look at them, you're like, oh, you know, they're always fucking mini. Like the one below 4, they look like a little Ushy from Woolies, like they're that mini. And then they just slowly progress to bigger sized babushka dolls until I guess they get to like 12. I reckon this is weird. I reckon I can identify a kid's age maybe when they're like 10. I'll be like, that kid's 10. But when they're like 7 or 13, fuck, I got no idea. You could be like 15 or... I'm really bad at ages. Like, I could look at any of you, right? Oh, we should play a fucking game on the podcast. Oh, that's weird. I was about to say, you should send me pictures of your kids and I guess their age. But I think that's really weird. But only do it if you, like, want me to, right? I'm not going to, like... but then I have to put your kid on the podcast, so it's like a fun play-along game. Never mind, guys. That's a bit of a creepy idea. I was going to say it could be a fun game where people just send me pictures of, like, kids, and you have to know how old they are, and then I just try and guess their age. But I'm actually not going to solicit pictures of children to my podcast email. That would be a really bad idea. So we're not going to do that game. You're just going to have to believe me when I say I don't know how to guess kids' ages. I hang around these kids all the time. Right? Meg's nephew and niece, Auntie Meg, right? And I got no idea how old they are. I think one of them's 4 and one of them's 2 or 3. Couldn't tell you. But they're mini. They're fucking real. They're like, I don't know. They're pretty small. You know, like you could fit him in like you couldn't fit him in a shoebox, but you could fit him in like a crate, maybe. They're like that. I don't know if that gives any perspective of how big they are. So maybe they're like 3. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a little bit distracted because there's a lot going on. But anyway, I'll do my best. So yeah, last week I didn't do the pod because it was Melbourne Cup Day, and I was originally planning on doing it on Melbourne Cup Day, and then I drank till 5 a.m. in a park with all my high school mates, and it was fucking awesome. I know that sounds grim on paper. Like me kind of saying that out loud sounded like a bit of a reality check, because it's like, that's pretty grim. Like this is how, it's okay. So we started off, I worked all day Monday. Like most people might have had the day off on Monday in Melbourne, particularly because it's like a public holiday weekend. It was a long weekend in Victoria. So I worked all day Monday. We were first day back at the Luke and Lewis garage. I'm not calling it a studio. It's Lewis's garage in Frankston. Let's just call it what it is. There's a roller door and it's pretty dirty and sometimes it smells. It's a garage. And we were there all day. I got back at like 8 p.m. and all my mates were already there. They got there at like 7 and I was getting thirsty. They're in the group chat sending me pictures like, you better hurry up, and they're like already smashing beers in the park. Now, by the way, 2 weeks ago, this was like the week after lockdown. It was in that weird niche period where it was acceptable to drink like crazy amounts of, or consume alcohol in a park to a high level instead of going to the pub, because it was really hard to get into a pub. We tried to get into a pub, but it was Cup Day Eve. The day before a long weekend. Good luck, right? And also 5 days after pubs have just reopened, it was completely booked out. So we tried to do the right thing. Turns out everyone had the same idea as us. Dude, the park was just packed. It was pretty much like the park became a pub after 7 p.m. It was awesome. It was like just like an acre big beer garden. And it was just people were just hanging out. I mean, there's going to be a third wave. I mean, masks were pretty much optional. It was a good time. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hate it at all. There's nothing like just pissing in a pond and then going back to the fellas with a deck chair. You all bring your own beers. And because I live nearby the park, we had a restock halfway through the night. We hit a real crucial part at like midnight where we all kind of ran out. Everyone kind of bought like 6 beers each, maybe. Like it was the vibe earlier that like, let's all just catch up. We'll bring a 6-pack and then we'll just call it a night. Because I have a mate, Cal, that lives in like West Melbourne. And like, there's people coming from a long way around because some people have moved out of the area and stuff like that since high school. So we're like, let's just like wrap it up in a reasonable time. We'll be home. A lot of us have girlfriends. So like, it'll just be like this, a classic fellas catch up. But I don't know what your friendship group's like, but once you get 6 beers in and it's midnight, it was nice weather and the vibe is alive, you don't call it a night. Okay, we don't get to catch up often, and it'd been a long lockdown, so we're pretty keen to get on it. So I was like, don't worry, boys. I got a slab at home. It's like a 500-meter walk away. Let's go. So a couple of us roll out like fucking Optimus Prime, and like Transformers where they just like Autobots roll out and they leave. And like in my mind, like Linkin Park was playing in the background. We're strolling down the street going, I become so numb. But really, I was just getting screamed at by a drunk fan, which is what happened. And then all my friends bullied me for it and said, haha, your fan's a drunken 14. And I had no defense because it was a drunk 14-year-old. So, guys, if that was you, I doubt they listened to the podcast. I'm pretty sure they were just screaming, you don't own me, bro. Haha, tell us a joke. VCal was the vibe. So I don't think they'll listen to this. I don't think they've watched my video since 2017, evidently. But either way, appreciate ya. Thanks for coming to say hi. Thanks for giving my mates a great opportunity to make fun of me for 3 hours. Anyway, so we're walking back to get mine. It's now midnight. And this is where the night kind of turned in a good way. Like, people started to leave the park. There ended up being about 4 groups left at about 1 a.m. in the park. There's us, we're about a group of 6 or so, or 7, I forget. And then there's like a big group of like 15 people, and then like a group of girls, right? And then we're all kind of keeping our distance. And then me and my mates kind of get like, I don't know about you, but whenever we get like a bit pissed, we just start coming up with games to entertain ourselves. That's just what we've always done. Like if it's in someone's backyard, like, and there was this guy like on meth, or we thought he was on meth, but it turns out he wasn't. He was just screaming someone at a park, so we assumed he was on meth, but he just leaves this fucked bike in the middle of the park. So a few of us were like, come on, go get the car. Like go get the bike. Like, and then there was a couple of us going like, oh, don't steal the bike. And I was on the fence. I was like, well, you shouldn't steal a meth head's bike because it's a stranger's bike. You shouldn't steal someone's bike, but also they did dump it there and it will be very funny. So I wasn't encouraging it, but I also wasn't telling anyone not to. So I was just kind of like, oh, don't do it, haha. But I was hoping one of my friends would do it. And eventually someone went and grabs the bike. Turns out the wheel was fucked, so the wheel just came off. Then we invented a game where we just started throwing up the wheel in the air, and you had to stand there and not move. And if you move, you're a bitch. And that was the game. Pretty toxic stuff with the lads, but I guess that's why men don't live as long as women, because we throw bike wheels in the air and then laugh at anyone who doesn't want to get concussed from it. So that's awesome. And it didn't hit me. I was pretty stoked, but I didn't move. One time it almost hit me. It like clipped my shoulder, but I was fine. All sweet. And then it probably hit like 2 a.m. Then we started, this is where it gets really childish and really drunk. This, you know, like when you're walking down the street and you're just like, there's a branch overhanging the footpath and someone goes, I bet you can't touch that because, you know, you got to jump and it's a little bit out of reach, but you probably could. It's just at that height where it's like, oh, I reckon if I got a real good leap, I could probably hit it. It was at that perfect height. And I'm quite tall. Like, you know, I'm one of the taller people in my friendship group. I'm like 6 foot. It's not crazy tall, but I got a good leap on me. You know, former athlete, actually, current athlete, but we'll get to that later. And I jump up, I smack it. I'm the first to hit it in the group. And all of a sudden, it's fucking on. There's a fair bit of short man syndrome happening in our friendship group. I'm not going to name names, but if I was, Dean, Stefan, look, they're not vertically challenged by any means. They're not really short, but they're just not vertically gifted. And so there's definitely... They're at the height where there's still a lot to prove. So they were going for it. Dean, former athlete, former national athlete, had the best chance. He managed to touch it. And my other mate, who's quite tall, Cal, ended up running up. He grabbed onto it. So I just touched it like that. I just kind of clipped the branch and went, aha, I touched it. Now someone else try. And my mate, Cal, he's not a quitter. And he ran in, jumped up, and then like was hanging off the branch, and there was 1.5 seconds. It was exactly, well, that's what it felt like. It felt like about a minute, but I could tell it was about a second of pure bliss on his face where he got both hands over the branch and was hanging off the branch that we thought was hard to even touch. And everyone went, oh, and his face went, oh. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you've ever heard a tree branch snap before from the trunk, but it sounds like a gunshot going off. You know those like real loud snaps where it goes, and then there was just this bang, and there was enough time for him to go, oh fuck, and then the branch snapped off and it fell on him, and he was trapped under the branch. And instead of helping him, we all laughed so much. It was definitely maybe you had to be there, but I promise you it was funny. So if you like sniggering right now going, yeah, look, that does sound like a good one. It was fucking awesome, and I'm so mad I didn't film it, you know? It would have been like that bit. Say if I was filming for Life of Luke or whatever, it would have been that bit where like, that's the bit at the start of the vlog. It was that good. And then the intro hits. Like it was just the fucking funny bit that makes you want to watch more. It was the best thing ever. And I'm kind of almost glad I didn't film it, because often we film when we're with those mates because they just think it's funny that I have this platform and we just film dumb shit together, because that's what we've always done. That's how my videos originally started, was us in high school just filming dumb shit at lunchtime. So nothing's really changed. My content has not evolved over the last 6 years, which is good. Still just filming dumb shit in the park. And I'm kind of glad I wasn't filming that one, because being in the moment, and I had a headache from laughing. It was so funny, man. Nothing like just like watching your mate accidentally fuck up a nature reserve. It was one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen. And I think it's a small cost that local councils have had to pay over the last few weeks in Melbourne. Like, there's been a lot of park drinking and a lot of the police turning a blind eye to it. Like, I saw cops roll into the car park. They kind of just walked around to all the groups going, "Hey, guys doing?" Just made sure people weren't being dickheads. Obviously, we did this after the cops left. But the cops have been pretty fucking good, really. Because, like, you're not technically allowed to drink in a park, but, you know, it's just like, look, you can't do it at your home. You're not allowed to have friends over, like that many people over. So it's like, they get it. And I thought that was pretty cool that the cops were just like, yeah, look, this is just this weird time where there'll be like, there's 3 weeks and the window's almost over. I reckon it's got 2 weeks left maybe, where it's socially acceptable to get blind in a park. And we're thinking of doing it again. It was so much fun. I feel like now it's almost frowned upon. It was a lot more, like, it's only been a week. I feel like next time we'll try and get into a pub and do it in a more civilized manner. But God, it was good to catch up with the lads. And then we kind of like filed out slowly, you know? Like, you know, one of my mates was like, all right, I got to leave. You know, it was like, got to like 3 a.m. and then people started to like fuck off. And you guys know, particularly if you've ever watched one of my late night streams, I have this thing inside of me, and it's a gift and a curse. I don't have it in me to quit a good vibe. If the vibes are there, I'm vibing. And that's literally it. That's kind of the way I live a lot of my life. And sometimes it's toxic, because sometimes maybe you shouldn't vibe in a park until 5 a.m. But God, it was fun. It was very fucking fun. But it also meant that I got nothing done the next day. We stayed so late, like, because we were just having so much fun, hadn't seen each other properly for months. And our friendship group's just like, you know, we're all really tight and stuff. It was so much fun. Like, it got to like 4:30 a.m. It's just me and my mate Stefan. There's 2 of us left out of the 6. Everyone else is gone. It's near my house, so I've got like a 500-meter walk home. I don't really care at this point. You know, Meg's well into bed. It's 5 a.m. It's the sun's almost up. You know what I mean? But we're still like, we're just in a park. We've got a speaker. We'll listen to tunes. Oddly enough, there were still other people drinking in the park like all night. So that's kind of why we didn't even realize the time, because the vibe, there was an ambience. And then nothing kills a vibe, or nothing makes you like snap out of it harder than a garbage truck just driving by, like starting his day. And I looked up, I was like, is that a garbage truck? And I was like, fuck, they're coming home late. And I was like, oh no, they're starting early at the normal time the garbage trucks start. It's 5 a.m. And then we just packed it up. We were like, all right, this is fucked. And I don't think I've stayed out late maybe when I was like 18. When I was like 18 or 19, we used to do like, because on Saturday nights, they didn't used to have all-night trains. Back in my day, we had to wait until the first train at Flinders Street station. So if you went out, like the club would close at like 3:30 a.m. and you'd have to make a decision. Do you get the last train home at like 1:30 or 2 a.m. or do you keep rocking on and you got to wait till the first train of the morning at like 5 a.m. So there was some nights where I remember there was this one night at Lucky Tuesdays or Lucky Thursdays, sorry, at Billboards. That would have pissed someone off then. It would have been some club rat just fucking furious that I fucked up the day that club runs. I don't even know if that's still open, but anyway, nothing more grim. I think I remember talking about it at the time on this podcast. There's just nothing more brutal than the lights of a nightclub turning on and you see what you've been dancing in. I don't know if you've ever stayed that late at a club before, but God, it's almost like in movies when they run like a blue light over a hotel room and you just see the stains on the bed and how much you shouldn't be here. It was like that. The lights came on and we were like dancing away. And it's the end of a student night. You know, $2.50 pots back in the day, $4.50 basics and spirits. It's pretty fucking loose. And I guess in the night, the lights turned off and the bouncers go, fuck off, like get out of here. We're all blind. I wasn't drunk enough to be walking out of that club that night. I'll never forget it. I was 19 and I saw... The floor was so sticky. For some reason, the floor felt stickier as soon as the lights went on. It went from being like nightclub sticky to, you know, glue, clag sticky. It was just, anyway. So yeah, back in the day, we used to have some late nights because you go to Macca's and then you'd have to wait at Flinders Street for like an hour until the first train from like 4 a.m. till 5 a.m. But literally, I know I sound like an old man, but it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I stayed at till 5 a.m. And I think that's just what a lockdown does to you. It makes you crave the boys. And then we were really planning to pack it up at midnight. And then 5 hours later, we kept drinking as well. So that's why there was no podcast last week. I got no excuse. I just wrote myself off. And I was planning to go like head to head. That's where we were planning to live at midnight because most of us had cup day plans. Like I was planning on going over to my brother's, which I did, but I didn't get there until like race 6. Jack's like, yeah, so race 1 starts at 10:45. And I woke up to all these messages at 1 p.m. He's like, hey man, it's already up to race 3. Where are you? And I was like, oh dude. And I didn't even want to look at a beer. Like I had one beer on Tuesday and it took me like an hour to drink it. It was rough. But yeah, it was so much fun though, and I'm fucking glad I had a hit out. And now you're probably concerned about me, and because I'm about to go into talking about how much I've got my life together. And I know the first 20 minutes kind of doesn't seem that way. That was just a one-off, right? It was a lot of fun. By the way, we didn't get like stupid drunk. We were just having fun, you know? But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I've been smashing it since like Wednesday and also a couple of weeks beforehand, as I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. I've been back in the World Gym, and Luke and on the Luke and Lewis podcast, if you're not listening to that, Lewis and I have started a fitness challenge, which is you get 1 point every day for every workout. So you can only get 1 point a day. So and you've got to do like a minimum half an hour workout. You know, you've got to like actually go do a workout. You can't just do like 20 push-ups and be like, that's a point, you know? So obviously no surprises. I'm fucking smashing Lewis, which I don't know. I don't even know why I'm bragging about it. Like, you know, no one's shocked. Oh, I'm beating a man with blue hair that looks like he hasn't left the house since 2005. Congratulations, Luke. You're a hero. But I was doubling his score on the last podcast, which, again, no one's shocked about. No one. This is what no one did then. You all went, obviously. That's the noise everyone went. That's the sound of agreeance, and of course. So yeah, I've been actually smashing it and feeling really good, which is great. And to be honest, I don't know why I thought it would be cool to brag. I don't know why I'm sitting here bragging about beating Lewis Spears in a fitness challenge. You know, that's like kicking an infant and then going, I could fight in the UFC. It's like, oh, chill out, mate. All right, let's just calm down. You know, it's not really much of an achievement, but I've got this absolutely wrapped up. There's no questions about it. He's only done 2 workouts in a week. I did 4 and I had a day off. It's like, I've already done 1 workout today and I'm going to do another, like I'm going to go for a run after I finish the podcast. 2 workouts in a day now. And that's only 1 point. I didn't even get 2 points for that. I'm just doing that for me. You know, there's one for the competition, 1 for me. That's how I'm rolling. So we've taken a before photo, which was taken the day after Cup Day. It was taken the day after Cup Day. So it was off a weekend of fast food and binge drinking. So I didn't, it's sloppy to say the least, the before photo. It's grim. That was, I think, the wake-up call that I needed. Once every year, I just need to see myself in just my underwear, and then I go, something's got to change, because that ain't it. And Meg's too nice to really tell me what she thinks, She's just too much of a beautiful person. She occasionally does say I look like the Grinch, but, actually, that's not very nice. But... yeah, I don't know if this means anything to you, but I'm trying to get my 5K time down to like 18:30, I think is my goal. I think I can do it. 18:30 is the goal. I definitely used to run a lot faster than that, and I don't know how. I look at my old times that I used to do when I was like an athlete in like year 12 and stuff, when I was trying to get into nationals and all this shit. I don't know what I did with my life. It must have just been running, because I genuinely was trying my fucking best the other day. Like, I really tried. I cannot fathom how much effort I put into this run. I was fucked afterwards. I haven't tried that hard in like 2 years, and I ran 19:45 for 5K. Off-road, so a few hills, but still. That's like 3:55 pace. No, my maths is bad. 3:57. I don't know. 3:57 pace. Whatever. It's under. I'm not good at maths. Whatever. It's under 4 minute pace, but it's 15 seconds under 4 minute pace. So yeah, 3:57 pace. But anyway, guys, that's it. So I've been chilling and smashing the world gym. You would not want to be the earth right now. And obviously, before I move on, I do want to apologize. A few people have been messaging me during the week. I fucked up some guy's garage, he reckons. People have been feeling the tremors, because I've been aggressively smashing the world gym, and obviously I've started a revolution. It's a movement. So there's clearly a bunch of us out there, because sometimes I'll just not be working out. I'll be like taking the bins out or something, and I just feel like a distant rumble, and I'm just like, oh God, I shouldn't be encouraging this much world gym action, because what about if the earth caves in? So many people hitting it at the one time. I ran past a guy, didn't realize at the time, messaged me later on Instagram, and I said, mate, I'll be honest, I thought you were kidding on the podcast about the tremors. You ran past me and it felt like a whole fucking earthquake. And that's like a witness. So even if you think I'm coming on this podcast making this shit up, because I get it, it sounds a little bit unrealistic, unbelievable, but that's like an eyewitness. I even put on my Instagram story to prove it. I didn't even make that message up. Like that's I don't know what to tell you guys. Like I used to measure my runs on a watch, like on my Garmin, just the time. I've been hitting the world gym so aggressively. Now I have to measure it on a fucking Richter scale. Scientists look at my run analytics and go, geez, did he break the Earth's crust yet? Because it's inevitable at this point. So anyway, that's just how I've been going with my fitness. Hope you guys have been well. So my brother on Cup Day, right? And by the way, this is what the podcast is going to be from now on. I've been having... I wasn't really going to talk about this, but I guess I can. I've been having a bit of a think. As you guys know, I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast about where I want to move my content. And, I'm really happy with some areas and not so happy with others. And this podcast was a thing that sat in the middle with I like doing it and it's going okay. But if I'm being honest, it's the least viewed, listened to, interacted thing I do. Right? Like compared to my YouTube videos and Luke and Lewis and all this stuff. So, and even, I guess my Twitch streaming is probably the least viewed thing, because streaming, you can't get that many views live. But anyway, I would say this podcast is probably my least interacted thing, but I didn't want to stop doing it because I enjoy doing it, but also it was taking up a lot of my time with curating emails, really putting time into like, all right, what's like a good topic? What's a good angle? What are you going to say about this? Like, not that I'd plan it word for word at all, but I would definitely like maybe like have a little rant in mind or something like that. And I realized like, man, this is taking up like, people probably don't realize, but it probably takes up like 5 or 6 hours kind of my day by the time I set up the equipment, go through the emails, think about what I'm going to talk about, then record it, send it off to Reese, blah, blah, blah. And also reviewing clips that Reese makes during the week, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, it's taking a little bit of my time, and that time could be used to make one sketch. So I think the compromise is, I think I'm just going to like come on here and talk about my life a little bit, and I'll have it a little bit less structured. Otherwise, I don't see this podcast being possible to do with the output that I want to start getting back into on YouTube. Like I've written 4 sketches this week, and I'm hoping to get them up in the next couple of weeks, filmed and edited and uploaded, and stuff. Because people said they want sketches again on my channel, and that's kind of where I started on YouTube, and for some reason deviated away from what made me popular online. I think I just got caught in like bachelor videos were doing well one year, and then I was like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna do that every year. And then and it was fun for me for a bit, and then I was like, oh, why have I become a reaction channel? Like my Omegle videos are just me reacting, and I'm good at it. Like I'm funny off the cuff, I am funny on the fly. So I think that's what I just fell into, because it was easy. I didn't have to write a script. I just had to turn on the camera, and it all came together in the edit. But I think I want to start flexing my comedy skills a little bit again, and writing some jokes and stuff like that, which is where I began doing content. Anyway, it might be boring to you all. I apologize. The point is, the podcast, just a warning, you can stick around. I'd love it if you stuck around. It's going to be just a lot more relaxed. Really, nothing should change. Reese is helping me out with going through all the emails and stuff every week and picking some good ones for the show. So really, nothing should change. I'm just giving you a warning. It's going to be a relaxed vibe from now on. Today, I kind of just pressed record. I just chucked it on. I was like, yeah, I'll speak about Cup Day, and yeah, I'm going to tread it. And that's kind of all I had in mind. But I just remembered then I need to talk about my brother, man. So my brother comes up like maybe like once every 3 months. Maybe like, 4 times a year on this podcast. Like not much at all, to be honest. He's just kind of this, some of my fans are aware that I bet you some people didn't even know I had a brother, maybe. Who knows? But my brother Jack, he's just like a normal guy. I cannot describe how fucking normal he is. Like if you guys think I'm basic, he's like me, but he's so basic that he's not even really self-aware of it, maybe. Like he's a businessman. He just like wears a suit. Obviously, he's been working from home this year, but he wears a suit. He talks about LinkedIn more than he talks about Instagram. He wears a satchel to work, which we called him once in the old radio days to bully him about. And to his credit, he got called on national radio and got bullied about his satchel that he took to work. And he stuck by it. He still wears that fucking satchel on the train, and that's just him, right? And I'm maybe I'm making him sound lamer than he is. He's a fun guy, but that's the business life. You've got to fucking, network on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you're screwed. And anyway, so he's like just bought a house with his girlfriend. He's definitely at the point of his life where he's almost hit his final form. He bought a spit roast from Bunnings. He's like, he's planted a new apple tree in his backyard that he talks about frequently. It's a mini apple tree. He goes, oh no, it's a dwarf apple tree or something. I don't even know. He's teaching me about gardening now. That's where our conversations have got to. He goes, oh, I've planted the new mini, the dwarf apple tree, and I'm so stupid. I know nothing about gardening. I thought he meant it grew mini apples, like little, like little fun-sized apples, like kind of like, golf ball size apples. And he goes, no, regular apples. It's just a mini tree, you idiot. And I was like, yeah, nah, fair enough. That makes a lot more sense. I got so excited though. I was like, oh, little 2-bite apples. That's cool. Turns out not even cool. And his new thing, so he's kind of like, he's literally, I feel like I have to describe my family. My family is the family from the movie The Castle. And that's just my life. If you don't know what that movie is, if you're an international listener, it's like arguably the best Australian film of all time, but you'll only appreciate it if you're Australian. It says more about Australian culture than I think any bit of media elsewhere. Like my family at the dinner table is 100% the Kerrigans when like he goes, what's this, Dal? She's like, rissoles. He's like, oh. She goes, oh, it's nothing too fancy. And he goes, no, but it's what you do with it. That's like literally my family. Like I went over there for dinner last night and Mum's like, oh, do you like these strawbs? I was like, yeah, I do like these strawbs. And she's like, yeah, you know what the trick is? She goes, you leave them out of the fridge for a little bit before you cut them. So they're not too cold. And I was like, oh, cool. And that was, that's the level of conversation that we're having. So my family is that family, which means we're the sons. I'm definitely Dale. I'm Dale dug a hole, where I did a thing that no one really gives a fuck about and everyone goes, well done, Luke. Like, oh, Luke had an important meeting about a podcast last week. Oh, and everyone's like, oh, well done, Luke. Good on ya. You still fucking doing that. And then my brother is definitely Steve, if you've watched the movie, and he's the ideas man. Jack is just always trying to come up with new ways. Now that he's got a house, he's like so proud of it, and good on him. I'm proud of him. He's bought a house. Something that it's an achievement that I have not yet unlocked in my life. And his new thing, him and Simo, his mate, who's Simo, you may know Simo from Simo's Weekly Rap. He was our Triple M Modern Digital mate back on the radio show. They're like just hit dad vibes already. They're just, if you guys think I'm a dad, I'm youthful when I'm around them. Like all they talk about is this Netflix show called Barbecues Galore or something like that. They're just really into barbecuing. Oh, for fuck's sake, my camera's died. All right, I'm back. I'm back in business. New battery and same discussion. What was I talking about? Oh, Simo and Jack are dads. And the new recent, I guess, they kind of go through phases. Like they're in a barbecuing phase at the moment. And the new thing is like they are both bought matching pools from Kmart. So in the $39.99 inflatable rectangle pools from Kmart for their backyards. And if you didn't know that they bought it from Kmart, the way they talk about it, you'd think both of them had a new pool installed recently. Jack just goes, oh, like he invites people over like it's an attraction. He goes, oh, you want to come over on Cup Day? We can have a dip in the pool. Now, to an outsider, you might think, oh, that's awesome. My brother has a house with a pool in it. He doesn't. He just bought a $39 fucking pool from Kmart, and that's it. Like he's so happy with it. Even when I bag him, I said, I'm gonna talk about you on the podcast and I'm gonna make fun of you. And he's so proud of it that he's like, everyone will think that's awesome. He goes, he cannot even see why I think it's lame. He goes, it's grouse. He goes, it's hot. You can dip your feet in. Now, I do think it's grouse, to be honest. That's how bogan I am. Like, I was kind of shitting on him, and then I saw it, and I dipped my feet in, and I was like, geez, this is grouse. And I'm like, how much was it again? $39.99. And the stupid part is I'm considering getting one. So I'm not saying I'm like any worse. I'm just saying like, at least I'm hesitant to hit that stage in my life. But they've both just hit their final form. All they really need is just like a dog. And then Jack's kind of over for life. And like that's him settled. And it's pretty good though. Like it's so weird being an adult. I don't even understand how to describe it because I don't know how many people over maybe 25 listen to this podcast. I think it's mainly probably people under 25 who listen. But I don't know if you've got to the stage in your life, but my mate came over the other day. It was like the first day out of lockdown, and he's building a house at the moment, which is like crazy to think about because we've been friends since we were like 8, and it's so weird that he's just like, yeah, I'm, like he's talking to contractors and architects and getting designs, and there's like blueprints, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I can't even upload a podcast every week. Like, it's so weird, but yet there's still the part in my brain has switched where I like that chat. He came into my kitchen, and cause like he's still living at home with his parents and he obviously wants to kit out his kitchen, I was giving him kitchen recommendations. We found ourselves, like, we've been friends since we were 8, Stefan and I, right? He's been in some of my early videos, been in a bunch of videos. We've been best friends for years, and all of a sudden, we're just having beers in my kitchen talking about Japanese knives and which knife sets you should get and what stuff from Kmart bangs. And I tell you what, guys, fuck me, if you want a hot tip, Kmart frying pans are lit. The non-stick ones, oh my God, so good. Wouldn't recommend the microwave. I mean, it's fine. Hasn't done anything properly. I feel like it's giving me cancer. I feel like the levels of radiation coming off a $40 microwave that we still use can't be good for you at all. So I maybe wouldn't recommend that. But the kettle slaps. The Kmart kettle slaps hard. And we just kind of found ourselves halfway through a discussion where we both knew what we were talking about. I was like, dude, this is, and I pulled it out of the case. I was so proud of it as well. It was like I was doing show and tell to my friends. I was like, get this. And he goes, Whing. And I'm like, $45.99 down from 100, over 50% off. And he goes, get the fuck out of here. And we're like, yeah. And 18-year-old us would have looked at these two guys having this discussion about a knife and being like, you guys, your lives are over. You're dorks, you're nerds, you're old. But I'm there now. I like to think I've still got a hint of youth on my side, but it's fleeting. It's going really quick, and I'm just hitting that period of my life where I'm like, I'd actually rather talk about like homewares and also like furniture and the property market than I would talk about like pop culture and stuff. And that's really hard to fucking face. Especially when your whole friendship has been like, when I said we got drunk in a park the other night and we stayed up talking, like a lot of that early chat, maybe through the first 3 beers, was just about like adult stuff, like stuff that I wouldn't have even engaged in 2 years ago. I still don't really give a fuck about like the election, like that happened this week, the American election. I'm not going to talk about it because if you want to hear someone talk about it, if you want to hear me talk about it, you should not be here. You're an idiot. And I'm an idiot, which is why I'm not going to talk about it. But I don't even understand. Like I was reading about it a bit. I'm trying to, understand things like that more when they happen. I did spend like a day and a half just like, fucking researching the American election, and then I just came out of it going, this country is fucked, and then I just stopped. So I guess, either way, like no matter who obviously Biden's like won or whatever, or they're contesting it, either way, it seems like their country is just fucked. Actually, you know what I will say? I watched Biden's speech after he got proclaimed, or what, I don't know what the terminology is because I don't know if it's 100%. After he was declared, that's it. After he was officially declared the president, he made a speech and it went for about 16 minutes, and I watched the whole thing, which shows you that my attention span is booming, just like my age, a boomer. Man, he said all the right things. I don't really know a lot. I didn't do too much research leading up to the election about their campaigns and what each of them were really trying to do with the country or what they promised or anything. But goddamn, he said all the right things. Whoever's writing that shit for him nailed it. I'm sitting there watching him, not an American. Don't really give a fuck what happens in that country. I've cared to a degree because I want to go over there and do shows. And currently, it's really hard to get a visa in America to work. It's easy to go there as a tourist. Really hard to go there and perform there and take their money back with you. They make it very difficult. So I care to a degree about their country, but also Americans. I'm glad I'm not you. That's for sure. I'm very lucky. This year has made me realize how lucky I am to be in Australia. But I'm sitting there watching this speech and I'm thinking, damn, I agree. You know, I don't even know who the fuck Joe Biden is as a person. I just know that he's way too old to be president. If he lasts, someone told me that if he does 2 terms, he'll be 87. He shouldn't even be driving a car, let alone driving a fucking country. Isn't he like 78? Or how old is he? Like, I remember my granddad kept driving till really late and Dad and I were trying to tell him to stop driving and stuff. And yet there's people around him going like, yeah, mate, run the country. And we're like, Granddad, we'll take you to the shops. You know, like he's a granddad, surely, right? If you saw him at a bowls club complaining about his hip, you'd be like, that tracks. Thank God that guy's not running the country, you know? But anyway, if you like Joe Biden, that's cool. I honestly know nothing about it, so I'm not trashing the dude or whatever. Good on him. He seems like a lot of people were really excited about it. I think people are mainly just excited not to have Trump in. And now I've hit the point of the discussion where I'm out of my depth. And you could probably tell now I'm just talking out of my ass, so I should stop. But anyway, that dude's old as fuck. That dude is ancient. You know, I thought I was getting old, and then I saw Joe Biden, and I was like, oh, man. Japanese knives, he probably doesn't, you know, he wouldn't even fucking buy a Japanese knife. He'd still remember the war. That dude's ancient. So anyway, what was I talking about before? I was talking about the election. I don't know, whatever. I think I like, oh yeah, what I was going to say is when I was watching his election speech, I think I became an American for 2 minutes. He was like, and then we're going to unite. Oh, he said something really powerful. He was like, it doesn't matter if they're blue states or red states. He goes, I want to create the United States. And everyone was like, I don't even fucking live there. I've been there for 12 days of my life. And I'm sitting at my computer going, fuck yeah, let's come together. Let's be as one. And then I like took myself out of it and I was like, Luke, you live in one of the best countries on earth. Why are you even watching this? My life's sick here, okay? I don't have to worry about a lot of problems. And we're killing Corona. We're like 9-10 days in a row or some shit of, I didn't check today, but I think we're like maybe 10 or 11 days in a row of 0 cases. We're straight up crushing it here. So things are looking up. It's the start of the silly season. I would say the silly season starts at Halloween. You know, you have a Halloween bash, and then that leads straight into Cup Day for any Victorians. And then after that, look at the sun shining outside. It's currently like 30 degrees today. I'm sweating up a storm. Just it's going to be a lot of sweaty podcasts from now on. It's the sweaty season, but also the silly season. And I'm living for it. I'm super excited. And I guess to end the podcast on a serious note, I was going to do some emails, but I think I've talked my ass off this week and I've run out of time. But to end it on a serious note, I was going to come out here and be like, I'm going to do this, and this on the channel. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to try and prove it, you know? Back in the day, nothing worse than promising shit and not delivering it. So, yeah, all I'm going to say is I'm really going to try and give the rest of the year a solid crack, make the most of it, because let's be honest, I haven't been pushing myself too hard during the lockdown. I think I've been like a lot of people. It's really hard to find motivation when there's not a lot to look forward to. For a bit, there was like no light at the end of the tunnel. It was a lot of uncertainty about when shows are coming back. And now I feel like we've hit the end. I don't want to speak too early, but things are looking up and I'm excited and I kind of ready. I feel like I started a lot of cool stuff during lockdown, like the streaming and stuff, and really got to take a step back and have a look about what I was enjoying with what I was doing and what I wasn't. And Reese and I are going to start working together in person again, finally. He can come over now that the 25-kilometer rule is scrapped. So, yeah, things are going to be looking up content-wise, and I hope things are going well for you guys. I'm going to end the year with a fucking bang. Feel free to join me. You know, I'm not trying to be inspirational here, but also, you should look up to me. I should be your fitness, comedy, and life idol. Actually, I should be none of the three. But yeah, I'm gonna go for a run. Gonna get up there, shred it, and yeah, I apologize about the tremors in advance. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I'll speak to you all next week. Next week we'll do some more unpopular opinions and some flex chat because I kind of ran out of time. But yeah, the podcast is gonna be like this from now on. Maybe it didn't even feel different. Who knows? That'll be shit, to be honest. If people are just like, yeah, look, mate, this podcast seemed about the same as the last 100. And that sucks because I've put in a reasonable amount of effort to most of the last 100 podcasts. And today I've pretty much sat down and hit record. And if people see no difference, then I've been doing something wrong for the last 2 years. So I almost hope that this podcast was hopefully different. It could have been a good different, but I hope it was different. It was definitely more relaxed. But yeah, that's going to be the vibe from now on. I just want to keep this podcast nice and chill. Because otherwise, what the fuck's the point of me doing it? You know, if it's taking up heaps of time, it's the least, listened to thing I do. I really could be putting more time into another sketch. So I actually got to write a sketch before this, do a workout, and then just kind of came in, hit record. And now I'm just going to send it straight after race and do another workout and then stream. So I'm kind of packing a lot more into my days when I'm not spending my whole day doing this podcast. I think I'm a classic overthinker, and I used to overthink this podcast a lot, and I'm going to try not to do that anymore. Just going to try and chat to you guys, update you, tell you some funny stories from the week, and that's about it. So yeah, God, I'm getting some fucking hectic dry mouth right now. I need a drink. See you later, guys. Thanks for listening.